Hello, hello. The good news is for the weather week ahead, we clear our near-term rain out, have a brief visit of some wintry feelings on Tuesday with some wind chills, and then we're back into milder and perhaps sunnier times through the end of the week. But some little problems and here and there, some weather systems might get in our way. So we'll talk about all the details here with the week ahead. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. That's where you can find our blog anytime you need us. Follow on Twitter, Capital Weather, and let me load the comments with a little shaking of the camera. There we go. So I really appreciate you tuning in to these weekly Sunday Sunset Q&As. Hey, Demi, thanks for tuning in. Hey, Laura, thanks for tuning in. The rain is leaving tomorrow morning. And good evening, Kathleen. So that's the near-term pain we have to put up with, if you will. We have some flash flood watches and warnings to the west of town where heavier rainfall has occurred. Generally around town, 0.6 to 0.8 inches of rain, but a bit more upstream in the Potomac River Highlands and over into the I-81 corridor, even west of there into the Allegheny High Country. But here's radar. It's spotty for now. Another pulse of rain could move in after midnight or so tonight, but the heaviest rain should be behind us now. That is the good news. Tomorrow morning should see our last raindrops be replaced by some increasing winds. So keep that in mind. The shift tomorrow is for drier and sunnier conditions in the afternoon, but the wind gusts are taking the place of our rain. So by the time we get to Tuesday morning, look at these wind chills. Winter is not quite done with us yet, even though March is beginning tomorrow. Here's March 2nd, though, for Tuesday morning. It is going to be chilly, but then it's pretty short-lived. We're back into the 50s again on Wednesday. We'll talk about all the details in a second. We'll dive into day by day. Make sure you check our latest update, our latest forecast at cwg.news/latest. And if you did not make it to the ski slopes this weekend, we still have our latest update for you available at cwg.news/slopecast there on top. At CapitalWeatherGang.com, you can find us anytime. And I'm Camden Walker. Thanks for tuning in, David. Typical March weather. I kind of agree with you. Hey, Rick, thanks for tuning in. We are doing fine with rainfall. No drought to speak of around here. I think nearly an inch above average since January 1, nearly 3 inches above average since December 1. So we're doing fine in the water department. And David thinks that March is coming in like a lion. We'll hopefully get it to go out like a lamb. And Dwayne, winter can't be written off just yet. Stacy, congratulations on your first vaccine next Friday. Weather should be stable by the time we get to this upcoming Friday. Let's look at the forecast at a glance. But we can't rule out with some storm systems, some minor storm systems pushing light precipitation kind of south of us for one thing into Tuesday night, Wednesday. It doesn't look like we can guarantee complete dryness for the rest of the week. But no major storm systems, no wintry parade of storms like we've had for weeks. That is the good news for everyone with the vaccine appointments or other appointments out and about. We have kind of slowly but surely steadier, stabler weather trying to move into our region. And Elise asks, is it spring yet? Not quite yet, even though meteorological spring does start tomorrow on March 1st. We don't think winter is completely done with us yet, especially when looking at these wind chills for Tuesday morning. It will have a bite to it. We'll definitely have a little bit of a bite to it. Kathleen, tomorrow morning the rain should pull out. Just add a little bit of slippery rain time to your commute to the vaccine appointments if you can, but no major heavy rain or ice to speak of. Jackie, hello, thanks for tuning in. Upper 40s and rain there in Portland. Gary, thanks for tuning in. And Eric, we can't rule out snow for the rest of the winter season here. The snow season goes until mid, even sometimes late March, so don't write off snow and winter just yet completely. Let's do forecasts at a glance for the week ahead while I'm taking some questions. Hey, Marie and Eric, we talked about our snow potential index. Yes, currently 0, but don't fully write off accumulating snow just yet. We've seen some March snows around DC. And let's see, where am I now? Ooh, Noratahe, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Lisa would love to get some sunshine and 70 degrees. I'm sorry that is not in the forecast just yet. Kathleen, you're most welcome. Thanks for tuning in. And very foggy in Emmitsburg, Maryland, says Maureen. The fog should lift a little bit as some steadier rain comes in tonight, and then it might come back into tomorrow morning. So if you do need to commute or go out tomorrow morning with some of the light rain we expect early tomorrow morning into maybe mid-morning, there could be some fog and reduced visibility, so keep that in mind as well. But then we start drying out and get breezier and clearing us out midday into the afternoon hours tomorrow when the main cold front starts coming through. You'll notice it as we start getting kind of chillier and breezier into tomorrow afternoon. That breeze lasts into Tuesday morning, when we could have some seriously wintry wind chills we wake up to. So please keep that in mind. Winter is not done with us yet. Rick, thanks for tuning in. You're most welcome. Hey, Peter, Gary, Marcy wants some spring. That means allergies, though. I'm liking this rain this weekend. Give me a break from the early season tree pollen like cedar. I wanted that rained out and I got it. Let's see, and I think I've caught up. So let me know if you have any further questions in a moment. Let's recap what we are talking about with what we have on capitalweathergang.com. For one thing, here's our cwg.news/latest and cwg.news/slopecast. You can touch on my face. The links pop up below on your mobile device or above on your desktop or laptop, or anytime you need us. We're at capitalweathergang.com and on Twitter at Capital Weather as well. We appreciate you following us here on Facebook. The setup for tomorrow: a warm front pushes through late tonight, early tomorrow, and then this cold front comes back through tomorrow night. Again, this parade and dance of these kind of weaker weather systems, they're going to torment us with some wind and some rain that moves out again tomorrow morning. So it is not the quietest start to the work week, but at least it's mild to start off tomorrow. Even before the breezes kind of kick in ahead of that cold front moving in, we are in the 50s. Then we dip back into wind chill, blustery 40s on Tuesday. Let's look at Wednesday. Yep, we're back in the 50s. So a little mini roller coaster to start out the week, but it is not too bad because rain is not too heavy after today. We really think the heaviest rain is behind us. The lighter rain finally exits tomorrow morning, and this is looking ahead for the entire week. Not much rain accumulation to speak of. It could, on balance, be a pretty dry week. If we see any precipitation, it looks light and kind of a nuisance. And I'm pleased to announce the first 6 p.m. sunset of the season. It is here, and in 2 weeks' time, we jump ahead an hour, we spring forward, so we have daylight saving time in 2 weeks from now. So keep that in mind. We soon change this to a post 7 p.m. sunset. So enjoy that. I know I love the evening lights. I don't need much earlier light than what it is right now with the early sunrises, but that's okay. Over 11 hours of day length, we will take it. Again, our short-term pain, let's go over that briefly as we start this work week. Zooming in on the flood watches and warnings in the area, generally west of town, of course, is where we've seen some heavier rain. Around town, we're still okay. The heaviest rain is behind us, so no flooding concerns in and around town, around the DC area. But many of us have seen a half, maybe 0.8 inches of rain. So it is wet, and it will stay that way with another pulse of rain coming in tonight, pulling out tomorrow morning. And if you're looking for the signals of spring, I see some of you, like Dawn, are asking about spring and wanting some warmer weather. So let's look ahead in the medium term. This is for next work week. Keep this in mind. For 7 days from now, we're looking at, on balance, the signals in the atmosphere showing an above average temperature trend. And you might ask, what's the benchmark for average, Camden? Well, by next week, we warm up to a 53-degree average high temperature. So above that, it's feeling pretty mild, slightly warm almost, I would argue. So don't necessarily put away your winter clothes. I think we've urged you not to put away your winter clothes just yet, but maybe have some of those lighter jackets on hand for some milder air next week. And precipitation next week, a slight signal for below average precipitation, so it could be a dry week. But again, as we talked about earlier, there's no drought in our area, so we're doing fine in the Mid-Atlantic rain and water department. So a week of below average precipitation, not a big deal. All right, Stacy is looking forward to going to Hawaii when it's safe. That is excellent. I like that optimism. And Gary, have a good week as well. Thanks for tuning in. And later this weekly sunset chat, David. Yes, indeed. I will be seeing you later and later into the 6 p.m. hour, and then eventually after the time change in 2 weeks, I'll see you after 7 p.m. So I guess I'll have to eat dinner before I talk to you every week on Sunday Sunset Q&A. Really appreciate you tuning in. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. Follow us on Twitter as well, at Capital Weather. And I'm taking your questions and comments as we look at, here's the forecast week at a glance for you. It is a little bit turbulent for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but on balance, I think you might be excited by some drier conditions, some sunnier conditions later in the week, and only one day of 40s, albeit blustery 40s on Tuesday with some wind chills, but March is trying to throw some 50s our way, some mild conditions. Outdoor dining this week, Thursday, that looks pretty good, Ellen, do that. And then Jeremy, The 6 p.m. sunset we're talking about is for here in the DC area. So we're getting later and later that evening light, and I love that I can share with you here on this Sunday, the very day that we finally get a 6 p.m., our first 6 p.m. sunset or later of the year of 2021. So it is, more evening light is upon us. All right, I want to go into the near-term radar picture if I can. So let's get out of this one menu and we will show you that yes, some flood watches and warnings are west of town, but around town in the DC area along I-95 as well, not a flooding concern really, because the heaviest rain we think is behind us, despite another pulse moving through around midnight. And yes, rain kind of continues lightly into tomorrow morning. Some patchy drizzle and fog can't be ruled out through tomorrow morning. We are slowly going to improve, but that improvement involves drying out with some breeziness, some windiness, some gusts near 40 miles per hour tomorrow, and maybe even into Tuesday morning we could see some gusts above 30, 35 miles per hour as well. And that brings me to the wind chills we might experience Tuesday morning. Winter is not done with us yet, so please keep that in mind. Please don't put away those winter clothes until very late March at the earliest. We have seen accumulating snowstorms in the mid-Atlantic in March, so please, snow lovers, keep some faith. We still have our cwg.news/slopecast if you want to head west into the higher mountain terrain in the mid-Atlantic and get some skiing in. And of course, cwg.news/latest for our latest forecast on capitalweathergang.com on the blog. And here's a setup. Kind of rain tomorrow morning tries to move out. The warm front that moved through earlier into tomorrow morning, it comes back southward tomorrow night as a cold front. So that's why we're kind of smashed between these little temperature roller coasters and the wind roller coaster. So let's talk about temperatures tomorrow in the 50s. It looks mild ahead of that cold front moving back through. Tuesday, 40s are back. It's blustery though behind the cold front. So we'll talk about those wind chills again in a moment, which looks a little bit wintry brutal for Tuesday morning, but it's short-lived. Here's Wednesday. High temperatures are back in the 50s. And really, it's not that rainy of a week. This is for the entire week rainfall estimate. Nothing too heavy. Any precipitation we see after tonight's steadier rain, really it's going to be light tomorrow morning and maybe a little bit of light precipitation, especially south of town late Tuesday night and maybe Wednesday. But it should stay generally dry around the region. And again, 6 p.m. sunset we're celebrating, first time of this year. We're keeping those flash flood watches and warnings west of town, but worth noting, if you do live or need to travel to the area tonight, please be careful, turn around, don't drown if you encounter a water-covered pathway forward. And let me put up the forecast at a glance so you can get a weekly quick summary here while I take some questions and comments. Jeremy, tomorrow the rain moves out in the morning, replaced by blustery, drying conditions and at least some sunshine tomorrow afternoon. So I hope that helps you with your plans. And Stacy, Wednesday should be okay if you're getting that second vaccine appointment. Congrats to you and your husband. So again, winter storms and major rainstorms even are behind us right now. This week looks fairly okay if you have a vaccine appointment. Just enjoy enjoy it if you can. You're lucky. All right, so yep, Bob, fairly ugly day today. It was damp and chilly, 48 degrees right now, and it is going to stay relatively steady at this temperature overnight with some fog and drizzle around. But yeah, it's got that dampness, like the water vapor and high humidity that gives us that high heat index. In the summer, it prevents heat from escaping our skin. This colder, damp humidity, it gets into our bones because it transports the coldness into our skin. It's an opposite effect of heat index. It's very, I hate it. All right, Camden, will it be particularly windy on Thursday or Friday, says Joe. Not expected to be too windy, Joe, on Thursday or Friday at this time. The main wind gets behind us. Here are wind gusts for tomorrow, and we expect some of this level of wind for Tuesday as well. But stay tuned to capitalweathergang.com. It could be a little bit breezy at the end of the week, but so far not as windy as what we're expecting later Monday tomorrow into early on Tuesday. So great question, Joe. Bob, are we about normal for precipitation? Yes. Puddles are in your yard for a reason. We're doing just fine on precipitation for the year. Here's radar right now. Rain, it's moving. The heaviest rain is behind us now, and we have drizzle and a break of it right now before more steady rain later tonight, but ultimately moving out tomorrow morning. That is the good news, but we're doing fine in the rain department. No drought to speak of, almost an inch ahead of where we should be for this time of year since January 1. And since December 1, we're nearly, I think, 2.9 inches ahead of where we should be for the winter. So no drought concerns at all in our region. More puddles and mud in the near term can be expected. Let's see. Robert, thanks so much for tuning in. And yep, Joe, indeed, we have those stats with the rain. We're doing just fine in the rain department around the Mid-Atlantic. And nope, Tyler, I don't think we're done with snow just yet. I can't write off snow and colder temperatures for the winter just yet. If you've lived in the Mid-Atlantic, we've had snowy marches and cold marches before. So even though our snow potential index, our SPI, it is 0 on capitalweathergang.com, and on Twitter, Capital Weather, we've had it at 0 for a few days now. Do not completely write off snow and coldness and don't put away those winter clothes just yet. We've urged you. And Tuesday's temperatures in the 40s, when you combine with some of these winds for later tomorrow and into Tuesday, just keep in mind wind chills for Tuesday morning. That's what we're looking at. It is brief, but a pungent, a stinging return of winter on Tuesday morning. Drew is looking forward to spring. And Reed, you're asking about the hats. Maybe that's what we have at cwg.news/hats. See if you can buy a hat at that link. And Stacy, you hope you are done with some of this weather. We do at least dry out tomorrow afternoon. And Bob, thanks for tuning in. And Duffy, cold snap coming on Tuesday. I would argue it's a brief cold snap, but these are wind chills on Tuesday. And then in the medium term, Duffy, it is looking fairly mild. So let's pull that up for you really quick. When I even look ahead to next work week for you, signals are for above average temperatures, a decent chance for above average temperatures. And then where you're asking maybe what is average next week, Camden? Average high DCA airport is 53 degrees and average low temperature is 35 degrees. And then precipitation for next work week, signaling a slight chance for below average. Doesn't necessarily directly communicate the magnitude at which it might be below average, but sometimes there's an indirect correlation. So we're doing fine in the rain department. Next week, if we are drier than average, not a problem at all. I mean, after all, we have flood watches and warnings hoisted mainly west of town, especially in the higher elevations of the Potomac River. So remember, turn around, don't drown. If you encounter a water-covered pathway forward on your bike or walking or driving, please stay safe. So here's the work week at a glance for you. And where did I leave off on the Q&A? March blizzard asks Lee. I'll try for that, but it looks like mid-March at the earliest. But of course, anytime on capitalweathergang.com, you'll see our SPI, our snow potential index, when we expect in the next week or so an inch or more of accumulation. But that has been put to sleep on snooze. We'll call it on snooze just for now, the SPI. And cherry blossom forecast, Elizabeth, that's early yet. They have not gotten close to their first stage of budding of their 7 stages, I believe. But we'll keep you posted on that virtual Cherry Blossom Festival, I think coming up at the very end of March. But great question. I'll make sure I stay tuned for that next week on our Sunday Sunset Q&As. Hope you can tune in then. And Michael also asking for a Cherry Blossom update. I will assure you with these weather conditions, there will be no rapid progression of the cherry blossoms. But yes, sunshine can help them slowly progress at the end of this week. It looks sunnier as well. So we'll keep you posted once it reaches that first phase of budding of the 7 phases, I believe. We will know a little bit more. Once they start, we can kind of start projecting a little bit with the National Park Service as to what the peak cherry blossom bloom might be into maybe later March, but it's been into April before as well. We've had some March cold snaps, which again, do not put away those winter clothes just yet. Vicky, you're welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. And once we spring forward in a couple weeks, the March sun angle will not change with the time change, but we are getting a higher and higher sun angle, I believe approaching an early October sun angle now, if that helps you. And again, we're talking about today celebrating our first 6 p.m. sunset. I'm happy to be here with that on this Sunday. So more daylight from sunrise to sunset, and more evening light specifically as we get these sunsets pushed later and later. And in 2 weeks, we add an hour on to even what the sunset might be So we'll be talking together on these sunset Q&As in 2 weeks after 7 p.m., which is hard to believe, but I will not complain about more evening lights. Thanks, Lee, for tuning in. Have a really good start to your week. And David, faster snow melt will happen with this March stronger sun angle. Yes, indeed. That is a very good point. So it is a little bit harder to get daytime snow accumulation, but it has happened even in the last few years around DC and the mid-Atlantic region as well. All right, thank you all for tuning in. I will sign off there and give you your forecast at a glance. It does start a little bit turbulent with rain, light rain, pulling out tomorrow morning. We turn breezier, as we've talked about, tomorrow afternoon into evening, lasting through Tuesday morning, when wind chills could be in the teens around the region. So please bundle up Tuesday morning. But it is sunnier on balance this week. Even the Wednesday precipitation you see there is light, if any. And we could be sunny again, if not Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, for slightly calmer and continued mild conditions. You can see 50s are the favored temperatures this week as well. So while I don't want you to put away your winter clothes, you can, with some permission from me, you can get out a lighter jacket instead of maybe that heavier coat. So please have a good work week ahead. Stay safe, stay healthy and well. Good luck at all these vaccine appointments we've talked about. At least fewer weather worries this week when we did our Sunday sunset Q&A. And I'll see you next Sunday, a little bit after 6 p.m. as we get that evening sun later and later for that sunset. Take care and check us out at capitalweathergang.com and on Twitter at capitalweather. Bye for now.